Okay, now I hear you. Welcome, welcome. Hey guys. Sorry for my tardy.
You are so
Hey
late.
Jess.
I was like,
I am so late.
it's late.
This is the first time I've ever been late.
We understand. We forgive you.
I hope so. I hope so. Let's send it to everybody so that we can continue to get on. I don't need to send it to myself because I'm already here.
Right. Don't do it, sis. Uh,
A lot of people sent me messages about how they couldn't view it because her page was private. Your page is private.
I actually unprivate it, so
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, if they come to my page, they'll be fine.
Right.
That's what's supposed to be happening anyways, but Chris May is bougie, so clearly she doesn't think we're good enough for us to do it on our page. So
It's not even that I'm bougie. It's just like, so you know how like those hair pages they be sending you friend requests and stuff like that on Instagram? Like I hate the
So
fact that
that's no, but you
however
said you unprivate it and it still didn't let me do it today, so I don't know.
you have to update your Instagram.
My Instagram is updated like every day because I'm always on Wi-Fi and it just automatically does it.
Well, I don't
Well, I
know.
was on Wi-Fi just now. Well, I said it. I remind myself to get on Wi-Fi because I was out all day.
Oh, well, I don't know then. Because it's like,
So I was supposed to do Film Fest today, right? And I had did me a morning shift literally on purpose so that I would be home on time and I wouldn't have to be late, right? And rush, whatever. The good thing that I did do last week, right when we got off, I wrote all the questions for this week. So I'm happy I did that. And then, so because I was off, there was like a farmer's market that was opening up and I got
she's frozen again. Yanta!
so right because
No!
I'm new to Atlanta area and I don't know anywhere because all I did was school. And mind you, I got there at 3:30. The market was open at 4. By the time I got back to the market, it was 6:30. That's how far I went and how much I was going around. So by the time I was done and I got what I want to get on the bus, to get on the train, here we are. So anyways, so that was my day. It was great. I had a good day. I always love going on adventures. Anytime I find anything new, it's my thing. So
Well, I spent,
it's a good thing I wrote all the questions. You went to work, right?
yep, I spent 12 hours sitting in one house, in one place, listening to an old woman talking in my head. That was my day.
Sorry. Sorry.
She can talk. That lady,
Sorry.
she talked my
I
head
bet.
off. Like, I was like, are you serious right now? She talked my head off.
Well, it happens. Who's Quite Time 01? Do you know that person?
No, I don't know who that is. I thought that was your friend. She
I'm
was.
really bad with Instagram names. But welcome. The only 126. Welcome. Barry Will.
That's
Welcome.
Chris. Hi,
That's
Barry.
who?
Hi, Chris. Chris Munn.
Chrisman from
From
Chrisman?
Bethel. Nider's cousin.
That picture looks nothing like him.
The only one. The only 126. Yeah, that's Chris Munn.
Okay.
Hi.
Did Camille change her name? She changed her picture. She had a redhead picture last time. That's why I don't recognize her. I'm bad with names, good with faces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember her from last week. The girl who can sing, who one of these days she's going to have to get on here and sing for us. We're going to have like a praise and worship. How far are we? How many minutes are we into right now?
5 minutes.
Oh, I keep forgetting that this is not mine. I'm clicking on it. It's not doing what I want it to do. You control it. Okay, official Marmar, welcome. Did I skip somebody? RXAXX. I don't know how to pronounce that. R Sax. Welcome. Thank
Oh,
you for
that's my
coming.
hi Sashu. That's my
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Cool. You said we're in 5 minutes already?
It's 6 now.
Okay. So we all only usually try to wait only 5 minutes. So whoever misses it, they're gonna have to catch it up on the thing. So because I just got home, I did not get to do my little notes of intro that I usually do. So this is going to be. I'm hungry. I have not eaten since like 10 o'clock. But we'll be fine. I'm okay. I promise.
You better hold it.
Okay. All right. So to everyday women, from everyday women about stories that help them do that. Last week we came up with this new thing that is a movement, and our goal is to fight back. And like we've been saying for the past few stories, is that since we started, it was cool, but then lately the enemy has been trying his best to, like, I guess, discourage us, but it's not gonna happen. Welcome Black Natural. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Black Natural. So we're excited. This butterfly story last week was Depression Tried to Kill. And this is part 2 of it, and we're with Chris Mayer, who's our butterfly for this week. And while I said last week, originally I was gonna title it "Depression Tried to Kill Her," but because we know depression does more than just because somebody's not dead doesn't mean they didn't suffer depression. In other words, and there's a lot of people around us who go through depression. We don't know, who looks happy, who looks okay, who has a lot of money, who has a lot of family, who has a lot of friends, who seems like they have it going on, but they're still suffering. And they're actually the most dangerous one, because they're the one you would never imagine until one day they commit suicide, and that's the end of it. And you're like, I wish I knew. But then I guess, I don't know if there's a way to know. But so last week we talked about what happened, the traumatic experience that Chris Mayer experienced at a very young age, and the unfortunate pressure that was added to by family in a way they were expecting her to handle it at such a young age, that put her in a situation of being depressed, and the very many years of battle until this day that she has had to practically live with it, like, every day. And the very many attempts of suicide she had, and how we realize it's really nothing but the hand of God, who has literally been resting over her life as to why she's even here, alive, to tell the story, because she has had over 10 attempt of suicide. And she gave us one of the stories of the attempt, and we were all shooketh. And so today I wanted to really focus on, like, some of the detail of how she felt throughout the years, and that. So the very first question I have for you is, how does this experience like shape how you feel towards your family? The reason why I asked that is because one of the things you said was, when you one of the things your grandma said actually was, when you get to a certain age, before you get to a certain age, you'll be pregnant. Another thing that a lot of your family kept trying to put pressure on you about, not having the paperwork for graduation. And the fact that I feel like as a child, the pressure they put on you to handle taking care of your brother, I feel like is unfair. And I don't think that any child should be forced to take care of another child. But I think it's even more unfair when both of you guys have the same mom, both of you guys have the loss, and you're forced to handle it. So I wonder, how does that shape with the way you view your family? Having to have that much pressure of handling something that I think adults should have taken care of.
At the time, I would, like, the way I would think of it like, okay, you guys are just lazy. Like, why don't you just do, like, the job that y'all was supposed to do from the beginning? So why let me handle it? And it was just like, I felt like the whole pressure, and I was just like looking at them in the wrong way. And yeah, I just felt like they were lazy. I'm like, you were so lazy. Like, you literally are lazy. So yeah.
So, do you think that changed the way you see God? You saw God then?
It was kind of like an up and down. It was like some days I felt like, okay, I would question it, like, is there even a God?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is. Why is this happening right now? Why am I suffering from that? Why do I have to go through all that? Why am I doing this by myself? Why I don't have anybody to support me? But then at the same time, because I grew up, because I was born and raised in the church, in the Seventh-day Adventist church, even though my parents left the church when I was 9. So it was just like I had a strong foundation. I had I had strong people around me that kept me in church. So because of that, like my faith was really strong at the time. So even though like I was questioning if there is a God, but at the same time, like I still had the faith. I still believe that there is a God, and this thing that I'm going through is not going to be for long. It's gonna pass.
Oh wow. And you were what, 13, 12, 13?
Yeah.
13. So would you say it was kind of like a battle between like the knowledge of what you know, your circumstances, what your circumstances are showing, and how you feel, and what your faith and your spirit is telling you?
Yeah, it was a constant battle. Yeah, it was really bad.
And that's a hard place to be at, because you kind of never have peace in a sense. So to be in battle, and it's an internal battle, because your mind, your heart, and your spirit are fighting each other because of what happened. And then it's like, well, I know there's a God, and my faith tells me there's a God, but this don't look like, and it doesn't feel like there's a God.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Do you ever feel like, that's a personal question and you don't have to answer that. You can just say, I don't want to answer that, and then we'll move to the next. Do you ever feel like your dad kind of like failed you with the lack of support that he gave, and or should have given more support? And if he should have, what type of support would you think he could have given to you that would have been better, or you would have wanted?
Okay. Yes, at the time I did feel like he did fail me, and because it's like when I look at it, it's not like he wasn't able to help me out at the time, because he was able to help me out. I mean, even though like I know like he was probably going through the same thing that we were going through also, but it's just like I feel like as a grown up, you already at a stage where you can handle it. And for me, I was not there yet. So it was just like, I feel like, like, yes, he did fail me. And I feel like he was, as my dad, he was supposed to actually like be there for me emotionally and also mentally. And even though like I know like he can't see inside my head and he can't go inside my head. But at the same time, I felt like, like, there were some days like, I feel like he should have come up to me and asked me, are you okay? Like, how was your day at school? How are you handling that? And I asked those type of questions.
He never did.
No.
Do you think that caused, I don't want to say hatred. How do you say rancune in English? Oh my gosh, I can't think of the English word right now.
It's just like it's not like a really bad hatred. It's not like I hate him. It's just like I feel like I dislike his actions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but then, honestly, I'm gonna be honest. That speaks a lot of volume for you, in a sense of, I don't know any young person who would have gone through that and not have the support that you didn't have, and not completely hate their other parent. Resentment is the word. Thank you. Oh my gosh. How do you even know? Do you speak Creole? Resentment, yeah. I don't know anybody who would not have. So to me, like I said, that speaks volume of how your heart works and the heart posture that you had then. But then I know people who are loving people and who go through traumatic experiences and gets a heart change and becomes bitter and becomes angry. And I've known you all of your life. Yes, you have a temper, but I trust your heart. And I think that's the only reason, that is one of the very reason why, although you have a temper, and although a lot of time I be wanting to beat you in the back of your head, I think that's the real reason why I'm always in your face about things, because I trust your heart. So cool. Okay, let's move on. What?
But wait, let me say something.
Go ahead.
Okay, so yes, a lot of people had expect for me to actually like hate my family and hate my dad and stuff because of the fact that he wasn't there for me. But at the same time, the way I see it, the way I think of it is like, as a Christian, if I call myself a Christian and I follow what Christ would want me, like I follow the path that Christ had created for me. So I just feel like if I go out there and tell people, hey, I'm a Christian, I go to church, I just feel like I should, like my actions should also match my words. So
But you were 13. Like, how did you even know that at 13?
I mean, like I said, even though like my parents had left the church, but I was still going to church. And even though like there were times that I felt like, oh, what am I doing in the church? Because they left the church. What am I supposed to do now? But the people around me, like, you know, the people that I had around me back in Haiti in the church. So it's like they were really strong-minded. They had like a really strong faith and everything. So it's like because I observe a lot. I observe a lot of people. Like, even though like I might not say anything, but I observe your action. I observe, you know, what you do, like, and stuff like that. So it's like, because I observe them and then I see how they act towards certain things. And, you know, I see how they take what's supposed to be so like the things that you're supposed to react to and when you're supposed to react to it. So it's like, that actually kind of helped me, even though like I was like at such a young age when it happened, and then my dad wasn't as supportive as he should have been. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, I'm like, if I call myself a Christian, then the hatredism, like the the bad thoughts of him, it's just like I shouldn't be having that. Yes, I dislike what he did. I dislike his action, but I don't hate him for that.
That's what's up. What are some? Okay, so what are some key points in realizing or possibly noticing depression, or if you have any, or if you think you can remember, like, what is it about? What is it that you're doing? What is it about you that you realize, yeah, I'm depressed? Like, do you have some key points? Like, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, and I mean any type of relationship, like friends, like you and I are friends, or siblings, or, you know, like somebody that around church. The reason why I asked that is because right when I shared the video, somebody said she watched the video. That was I can't remember her name right now, but she used to go to our church. And I was supposed to tag you on it on Facebook. She said she was one of the mothers of the church, and she just couldn't tell, and she felt kind of horrible. She said she boo cried the whole video. She just felt horrible watching it, knowing that she knew you, and she couldn't tell any signs. And I'm thinking to myself, like, are there signs, like those that are not obvious? Like, how do we know? How do we know to help if the person is not asking for help? How do we know?
I mean, I just think it just depends on the person. Like, for me, I'm the type of person, like, I keep to myself. Yeah. Whatever I have going on, you won't know it until I come up to you and tell you or ask you for help. So that's why, like, a lot of people were shocked about it when they hear that I suffer from depression for that long.
Right.
It was just like, because it's like, yeah, I'm always happy, and I'm always, you know, it's not like I was really happy. It was just kind of like a face that I was putting up just so people don't come inside my business or, you know, come ask me, oh, are you okay and stuff. Because I always felt like if somebody comes up to me and asks me if I'm okay, they're just going to, the next word that's just going to come out their mouth is going to be like, they're going to pity me. and I did not like that. And especially like in the Haitian culture, in the Haitian community, they're just coming to you to ask you if you're okay, but then they're the same people that will go right back behind your back and talk about you behind your back. And I did not like that at all. So I've always kept that to myself. It was just like, there were times that I felt like, okay, yeah, I should have at least talked to one of them and let them know. But no, I didn't show any sign. But I didn't show any sign to them. But the signs for me, how I know I was depressed is like I always like outcast myself. And
okay.
It's like, even though like I know I'm the one that outcast myself, but whenever like somebody else is doing something and if they don't invite me, I just feel like, okay, what, like, okay, was I not like, am I not good enough, or am I not like your friend enough, or am I not like, kind of like representable enough for me to be a part of what you're doing?
Gotcha.
It made me feel like some type of way about that. And then it was just like after that I would come back home. Like I'm like several times like I can't fall asleep. Like literally like last night I did not sleep at all last night. Like I slept for like, I came from work after like a 17-hour shift and I slept for 2 hours, and after that the whole night, that's it. I did not sleep at all. And then I kept crying, like especially last night. Like I was crying and stuff, and then it's just like, it's really bad. And that's how I felt like ever since then. It's just like I cry myself to sleep because sometimes I can't sleep. And if I do, and then I wake up in the next day and I was just like, I feel bad. And I'm like, okay, what is happening to me? Like my body, I
So
feel like
you don't even know why you're crying?
Nope.
Wow.
I don't even know why. And it's just like I would listen to sad music, like I know every sad music you could think of. I would listen to all of them. Like it doesn't matter if it's like a Christian sad music or if it's like if it's like rap sad songs. It's just like, yeah, I would just listen to all that. And then as I listened to it, and then that's when I start crying and stuff. And then I just couldn't understand it. And then there were times like I would wake up the next day, I feel so tired. I would wonder, why am I feeling so tired? Like my body just aches, and it feels like I was beaten up in my sleep, when really like I went to sleep fine, and I was in my sleep like I was really fine. But it's just like when I wake up the next day, I feel really tired. I feel really lazy. I feel like I don't want to get out of bed and stuff. So yeah, like those are signs. Like those are like signs that don't really show, but these are like the signs that are there too.
So I have a question, and this is not part of my question. It just came to my head while you're talking. Do you think that some people are more prone? Because I know there are people who are diagnosed clinically depressed, and when that can go untreated, that can turn into bipolar, and you have to be on medication. There are people who get flares of depression or feel depressed, and they get out of feeling depressed based on circumstances. So do you think that there are people who's not naturally like, do you think that depression could be a thing like, it runs in my family, so I'm more prone to suffering depression and longer term and easier to fall into depression? Or do you think that it's just people experience things that makes them depressed and it lasts longer, if not? Like for you, I feel like you never got a chance to mourn. So because you never mourn and they force you to like practically pull up your big girl's panty and suck it up, there was never really a proper healing. So therefore it lingered, and anything that's not healthy that lingers, it's not just going to go away because you don't pay attention to it. It can actually spread and becomes an infection all over everywhere else. So like, do you think like, okay, there's a possibility like somewhere in my family, maybe there are like other people who suffer depression, and I'm more prone to being depressed and suffer depression, or I experienced depressed moments that lasted longer than they should have?
I don't know anybody in my family that actually suffers from depression. From what I know from the people around me, I am the only one. I don't know about I don't know about anybody else if like, you know, they don't want to talk about it, but I know like
Right, right.
for a fact like I'm the only one. And it was just like it's not like it's not like I saw it around me and then it's just like it happened, you know, to walk over to me. No, that's not
Right,
how
right.
it works. The things that it's like right after my mom passed away, it's just like you said, like I just didn't mourn it, and it's just like it became like a whole thing. It's like it became like kind of like a whole burden to me, and then it just like a whole darkness.
Do you think it will ever go away?
Not completely. I mean, it all depends on the attitude that I have towards it.
Okay. So, Christy, I didn't mean here what that word you just said that I can pronounce right now. I meant like because some people believe in what is that called? Generational curses, whatever, right?
Right.
Or some things like even mental illness. If it's a mental illness can go, I think, to your kids based on how you raise them, I think. And if it's a chemical imbalance, really because of trauma, I think you can give it to your kids. So the reason why I ask is because do you think that if it doesn't go away, do you think it's something that you may potentially have, your kids may have to experience?
Right. Yeah, it can happen because it's like scientifically it is proven that when a woman is pregnant and then when they suffer depression, they can actually transmit it to their child. The kid might not feel it while they're growing up, but when they get older, like when they get to my age, yes, they will actually suffer. It might not be like a long-term thing, but they might suffer from it. So
yeah, because I do know somebody, well, not personally, but I've heard them say that as they grow up, they always felt depressed, and it was flares of it, and they didn't understand why.
Right.
Because they felt like they had a good life until they overheard their mom say to somebody else that, thank you for ministering this to me, because when I am going through my depressed moment, this is what helps me. And he's looking at them like, you what?
Right.
You did this to me and I didn't know? So, I mean, and I think it's so important because, and I don't know how that would work with you having kids. If you think that's something that, I don't know if that means when you're pregnant, you're gonna have to be more careful about the things you allow hurt you, the people you allow around you, the way you allow things to affect you, and be like intentional about your ways to try to, or even I guess pray about it, because God is that good where He can spare them that situation, or even take measure knowing that if something were to happen in their life, even if it has nothing to do with you, knowing how you would approach it because of what you needed when something happened to you and nobody supported you. So yeah, okay, so that's cool. How did you deal with it, and what are you? Okay, so I remember you had posted this on Facebook and you were saying about the percentage, and I think you said it last week, you had 15% now. Like, what is it that you're doing that's bringing the percentage down? Because that's important.
Well, the first thing is I pray about it, because I'm like, I pray about it, I cry about it. And then another thing that I find that actually helps is talk about it. So yeah, because I did have one of my friends that texted me yesterday, like he said, how do I deal with it? And I'm like, I do not know exactly how I deal with it. It's just like I know that I am dealing with it. I've dealt with it like for that whole percentage that it's actually gone, and the rest of it I'm doing what I did from the past to see if it will work now. Because like I might have done something in the past that worked for the past, but then it can't work for now.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like I'm actually like I'm doing the same thing that I did before, but I actually try to change it up a little bit. Let's say if when I first wake up, I would pray first, and after that read my Bible, and then go to work. But then now it's like I try to switch it up. I try to read the Bible first, and then after that pray, and then think of a positive thing, like say, okay, yes, today's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna have a good day. Like I'm gonna be positive today. I'm gonna smile, even though like I know like my body won't allow me to do that, and then my heart won't allow me to do it either. But if I keep thinking the positive, if I keep like smiling through it, it's just gonna go away. And then at a point, it's just gonna feel like the depression is gonna feel like, okay, why am I still here? Like, okay, she's not even like it doesn't even look like she wants to look, be down and everything. She wants to be happy, so let me go away. So that's how I think of it.
Do you think? Because I don't know any. I mean, something you said earlier kind of had me like thinking to myself like, do I need to do a diagnosis? Am I depressed? Like, really? Because you like the sleeping part, and I'm like,
Right.
I know I don't suffer depression. I know that much, but I do know I do know my thing had always been inadequacy, feeling inadequate, and loneliness. Believe it or not, and I am introvert, so and I enjoy being alone, but I do have big flares of feeling lonely, and it has nothing to do with amount of people around me either. And I know inadequacy had always been a huge issue of mine. And it has nothing to do with the value of my work either. It's just a way I beat myself up, and I have to like purposely, and I mean like I have to purposely choose and I don't even have to say it out loud because I'm introvert, so I could do a lot in my brain. I have to purposely change my thoughts about myself regarding my good enough. And it's always been an issue, and I don't know where it comes from, and I don't know how it got there. I just know it's something that I've always. I didn't think it was a bad thing until I realized how it relates to me interacting with the world and how I give with the world, and how, because while a lot of people love being around me, I don't always want to be around people, and how I treat myself will require how much I can handle people being around me. And I can stop people wanting to be around me. I try to hide a lot. You guys know that I'm always trying to hide, but it just even when it's strangers, it just happened. So I'm the reason why I brought that up, I'm thinking like I wonder if it's like though you may suffer with something, if it's not like detrimental, like dire, like it's gonna kill you, I wonder if it's like you can trick your brain into doing like the opposite of what it's trying to tell you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, because you said like you'll tell yourself you have to smile even if your body and your heart won't allow you. But if you tell yourself the positive, then maybe that will help. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's kind of like me. Like I'm thinking, like, this is stupid enough to be like, first of all, we're not gonna call ourselves stupid, and this is outside my head. We're not gonna call ourselves stupid or this and that or that and the third. I've never seen this before. Somebody just did a Q&A off the comments. I wanted to give up on life so many times in my life, and I cried night to night just trying to find myself, and I didn't believe that it doesn't let me finish reading the rest.
I didn't believe that till the day I attempt, but I still think what I do personally, I can't really see the whole thing, but yeah, that's actually one of the youth of my church and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's sad. That's really sad. Okay, how many minutes are we in?
34.
34. Okay, we're actually doing good because I don't have a lot of questions left. Something Candice said, but you have to be oh man, I lost it. You have to be mindful of the things you listen to before and during sleep. The way you feel when you go to sleep will 9 times out of 10 be the same way you wake up. Such is true, and I know this for a fact because I do this to me all the time. And sometimes like, oh yeah, that's something you said. You said you'll wake up, you feel like you beat up, and you don't know why. Like you feel like a truck ran over you. I know, and I know this for a fact because I know I've experienced this a lot. Right before I quit Rosen, doing the dark ages of the waiting of not knowing what God wants from me, and I know like I will just not sleep. And I would go to sleep and I wake up and I feel like all my body is broken, physically broken. So like I know that's true for a fact. Okay. Oh, you kind of answered that. My next question was, did you ever feel weak? So you kind of answered that already. Do you think that there are positive that can come out of the experience? Like, what do you think it taught you? Where you're like, if I didn't experience this, I would never know this, or God allowed this to happen because he used it to teach me X, Y, and Z, and I would not be this person type of thing. Like, do you think there's positive that came out of it?
Yeah, I think there's positive, but it's just kind of like, to me, there are positive things, but if I say them to other people, they might think like, okay, you just don't want to be around people. That's why you say that. But I know like
It's
one
still
thing,
positive, so it doesn't matter what people gotta say.
right? But I know like one thing that it actually taught me not to depend on others.
Okay.
Cause it's like, cause it's kind of like, yes, even though like people, you will always have people around you. You will always have like, I mean, I'm not saying like everybody. It's not everybody. It's just like certain people. So it's kind of like there are some people that really generally wants to see good for you, but there are others that even though they are here, they're saying that, oh yeah, it's okay. They're giving you a pat in the back, but at the same time, that same pat in the back is just gonna come back as a knife to poke you
Stab
in
you
the
in the
back.
back.
So it's
Mm.
just like you gotta be mindful of who you talk to about that, and just because not a lot of people, not everybody would take what you say the same way as if you were
Yeah.
to, yeah.
You know what I realized?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I don't know if this is in every culture. If in the Haitian culture is what I know, and this is not so bad for my culture. Absolutely not. I love my people. At the same time, when things are wrong, things are wrong. And as a people, I would love to see us advance. So I'm not gonna sit here and close my eyes on something because I think it's wrong. And I think our generation, we need to be mindful of these things so we don't repeat the same things and we treat our kids the same. We often treat people. Okay, I want to make sure I say this properly, the way I originally heard it. Okay, so sometimes, like with what you said about everybody doesn't really care, like they're patting in the back, but sometimes for pity, like we treat people the way. So because in our culture, it's like there's no such thing as mourning, other than screaming at a funeral. And half of the people who screaming usually are not even family members. Because there
They're
is
just
no
doing
such
it
thing
for
as
the
kids talking about
attention.
their, huh?
They're doing it for the attention. They're doing it to get other people to actually look at them.
It's crazy. Because
Yeah.
like there's no such thing as kids have or allowed to talk about their feelings. Like kids are not even allowed to have feelings. Because I guess we're resilient people. At the same time, that resilience causes us to be inhumane sometimes. We expect everybody to have the same threshold with how they deal with things. My difficult may not look the same as your difficult because we have different capacity. God created us differently. I could hit my toe by the bed and go, ouch. You kick your toe by the bed and die. We're not the same people. So therefore, I cannot say, well, I hurt this way and I survived. So if you hurt this way, you must survive. We're not the same person. We don't have the same amount of capacity. You hurting this way could wipe you out while somebody else hurt that way. And it's like, well, whatever. It goes over my
Right.
head. So we treat people like the way we feel like we want versus understanding their needs. That's what it is. We don't care to understand that person's need. We want to throw our understanding, our needs on people. So if I see it this way, you must see it that way. So therefore, everything else you do, you're just being extra. So it don't matter. And the other side of that is that like we claim, oh, people should talk about it. We should talk about it, but we make people uncomfortable to talk about it. We first of all, we don't give them an opportunity. Second, we judge them the moment they say something. And third, we disregard them. So what's the point?
Yeah, what was the point?
And that drive me like so insane. It's like, whatever. I had another question, but I lost it. and it escaped my mind, so I don't know
Come
right
on
now.
now.
I'm still hungry.
Ask the
It was a
question.
good question too.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh. But anyways, I think you answered that too. I think you answered a lot of question within question. What things you okay? I did that already. Tell us. Is there anything you want to tell us? Maybe the question will come as you talk.
Um. Well, I mean, like the whole process. It's a lot. It's painful to actually go through it while knowing that you have a lot of people around you, and you feel like there were days that I felt like the close ones around me should have noticed that, but
Mm.
they didn't notice that, or maybe they did notice that, they just didn't know. Like you said, our Haitian culture, they just don't know how to talk to people, and not even in the Haitian community. Just like like as like I said in one of my posts on Facebook, it's like the Black community. We treat depression as if like it's nothing. You could just bounce back to it. But in reality, it is something serious, and people really need to just like you care about if you have like a stomach virus, you should also care about having depression, because it is a disease. It
It's
is
a
real.
mind virus.
People do suffer from it, and if they don't get the help that they're supposed to get, it might end up to suicidal thoughts, or it might even
Or
not the
like I
thought.
said, it's not even just suicide. I know somebody. She suffered. I worked with her. She was an employee of mine. And she's a way older woman. The lady was a lawyer. Okay, she was married, and I guess went to a really ugly divorce, and she fell into depression, and I guess it never got treated, and eventually I guess it's transformed into bipolar, and where she was on meds. And by the time she worked for me, she was considered a senior citizen, and I guess one morning she didn't have her medication, and she came to the office and just could not handle life, and it broke my heart because I'm looking at a full adult having a childlike tantrum, and other days she's normal. And this came out of middle of nowhere, and then she had to go home, and it broke my heart because she's so sweet, highly intelligent, and because of it, she also smokes to keep her nerves down. So now she's addicted to nicotine. She's trying to get off, but she's also drinking coffee because now she's trying to find ways to keep herself calm and trying to go back into the workplace, trying to feel normal again, but she can't.
Yeah. I just wish that there were ways that you can actually treat it without being on medication, because the medication actually plays a big part of the suicidal thoughts. Because it's like the drug.
How does that work though? Like,
Yeah,
um,
because like the drug, it's really strong. So what it does is like it makes you so drunk, because the type of drug that they give you for you to feel like you are normal, it's really strong. It's kind of like when you take when you having like the sinus effect. When you take some type of medication for it, it makes you drowsy, right? It makes you feel sleepy. It makes you dizzy and stuff like that. And that's how it works. Like it not only it makes your body feel like it's really numb, and then it also like your thoughts. It's just like, okay, you're not thinking. Actually, you're not thinking straight anymore. You just feel like, okay, yeah, hey, how you doing and stuff like that. That's how it makes you think. So it's like if you like say if you were already like suicidal thoughts, but if it wasn't like something that was actually like there, when you start taking it, you're gonna feel like, okay, oh, if I put myself, oh yeah, I don't feel a thing. Oh, okay, let me do it harder. Oh, I don't feel a thing, and then that's when you start doing it, and it's not good.
so I'm assuming I don't do drugs because I don't like drugs, and this Benadryl, I just be looking at it like can't focus for me to take the Benadryl because I don't like the fact that it makes me drowsy. I don't like that control. So it sounds like it shuts down the part of your brain
Mhm.
that makes you feel.
Yep.
And then when you're realizing you're not feeling, you're trying to do things to feel.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
It's
absolutely
yeah, it's
insane.
that's what it does. It's just it shut it down. Not only it shut your thoughts down, and then it makes your body numb. You know, it's kind of like when you're having the back, because I have back pains all the time. Okay, so when I take, I mean now, not even Advil works for me. Advil does not work on me because my body is already used to Advil. So for me to not feel the pain, I have to take the 800 milligrams ibuprofen. That's how bad my pain be. So when I do if I take the 200, I don't feel nothing at all. Like the 200, just it's just like okay. It was just like it was kind of like a little dessert that I had. But
Wow.
when I take the 800 milligrams, that's when I feel like I had the big meal. Like I feel like my pain is gone for the whole 6 hours. I don't feel nothing. My whole back is numb. You could push me as hard as you can. I won't feel a thing, nothing. That's how numb it makes my body feel. And then it's just like it also changes my thoughts too. Cause like I've been thinking, cause while I'm having back pain, I keep thinking in my head. I keep thinking, oh my God, my back hurt. My back hurt. Like okay, if I do this, it hurts. If I do that, it hurts. So it helps with it helps with my thoughts. So it's just like it makes my mind ease. I don't think about the pain anymore, and it's just like okay, I feel like okay, I can go through whatever I have to do without any pain, and then my body just feels numb to it. So that's what it does. That's why it's like when you have depression, most people that actually goes and take the medications, I feel like when you take the medication makes you feel a way you've never felt before, and that's what leads you to suicide.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I just have to put the disclaimer out there because we are going to post this on Instagram. You guys know this that's listening to this, but when it goes on up on YouTube, I just have to put the disclaimer. None of us are expert. We're not doctors. We're not psychologists. We don't know all that goes into. However, Krishma, this is her experience. This is what she's gone through, and she's just sharing that how she went through. So don't nobody come out here trying to act like we said this girl think they're doctor. No, we're not. I'm not. She's not. This is just what she experienced, and she's just sharing her truth. So I did have a question come back. Do you think that you should have done therapy, or do you think you need therapy now, or do you think therapy or counseling is important for you at least?
I felt like yes. I should have gone to therapy then, because at the time it was like that's when it was really bad on me. Like a few years ago, it was really bad on me. I feel like I should have gone to therapy, but you know how as a Haitian, and then you have Haitian parents, they're just like, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with you. Go sit down somewhere. Keep out depression side. What about what's the depression? Like really? So it's just like I feel like if I had mentioned it to my parents, if I had mentioned it to my dad or anybody in my family, they would have just looked at me like, there's nothing wrong with you. Go sit down on something. Go drink some water or whatever. You'll be all right.
Go drink some water.
Yes, because there's just like, okay, there's nothing wrong. So that's why I feel like but it's like I felt like when I turned 18, I should have. And even now, like I can still go through it, but it's just I keep having the thoughts in my head, okay, talking to somebody that I don't know. I don't know what they're going to say or what they're going to do, or if they're going to tell somebody else. Because my fear
I mean, you would be able to sue them if they told somebody else because it's supposed to be confidential.
Right, but how would you know that though? I mean, how would you won't even know if they're gonna tell somebody. It's just the thought in your head.
I mean, it's kind of a little bit too late now because the whole world knows now.
Huh?
It's kind of a little too late now because the whole world knows now. So that thoughts need to be like out the window.
Yeah, I mean, like now, yes, like now it's totally different because I decided, like to talk about it and stuff, and it's totally different now. But
so, do you think this is like a form of therapy for you?
Huh?
Do you think like this is a form of therapy for you?
Oh yes, it is definitely a form of therapy, and it actually helps because I remember like last Thursday when I first talked about it. After I was done talking about it, I felt so relieved. I felt like it's like before I started talking about it, I felt like I had like a big old table sitting down on my chest, and then as soon as I talked about it, that I felt like the whole table, somebody just came in and just lifted up. I'm like, oh my God, I feel so relieved talking about it.
You know, that's crazy because all we did was talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have no 5
Talk
steps
about it
into
with
how to get
no
over this.
judgment. Like all we need is
Okay.
talking about it with no judgment, because you could talk about it to somebody and then the thought of them judging you, it just makes you feel like, okay, I regret it so much of opening my mouth. Yeah.
But isn't that crazy though? Because it's like, if it's as simple as being able to talk about it in a safe environment, why aren't more people talking about it? Like, why am I getting emotional? Sorry. Why aren't there more, especially in the Christian environment, why aren't there more safe spaces to just talk? Like, if it's really that simple, it doesn't cost me no penny an hour Instagram live. This is not hurting me in a sense other than, you know, like I have an issue with seeing people suffer, but if it's really that simple, why do we have so many like that? I don't get it, especially in the Christian church. We are supposed to be the hands, the feet, the mouth, you know, of God. We're supposed to be showing God's love. And we have people out there within the church and our communities out there suffering. And it could have been as simple as, let's talk, like, how are you doing? And honestly meaning that and being open to hearing it. And I mean, I could understand like some people just are not really good with hearing other people suffering, because me in particular, I had to realize that there is a gift in hearing people talk about their issues while I'm still suffering. And I had a hard time hearing other people suffer without feeling like I had to fix it. And I had to somehow learn, how do I fix that in my brain where everybody have problems and you're not Superman or Superwoman and you're not God. So you can't fix no one's problem. However, if it's enough to just listen to them, somehow I have to teach myself not to carry that load and add it to what I'm struggling with. And I have to be okay with it just being caring. Just care.
Yeah. Elika just commented under it. She was like, you have to be ready first and then have someone genuinely who's willing to listen without judgment. And I feel like it is true, and especially like we live in America. America is like everybody is just doing their own thing. They don't really have the time. So that actually plays a big role in it. So the fact that, you know, like people, okay, you could be sitting here and then even with your parents, you're like, hey, Dad, I want to talk to you. Okay, you got 2 minutes. Make it quick. And then you're like, but it takes longer than 2 or 3 minutes for me to actually talk to you. I want you to give me your undivided attention. So the fact that you don't have the time yourself to give me your undivided attention, so it actually plays a big thing in it too. So I'm just going to be like, okay, well, if I try you and then you told me like, hey, I don't have the time for it, and then I'm just automatically, I'm going to assume that everybody else don't have the time for me to talk to them about it. They don't have the time for me to actually like sit down for at least 4 or 5 hours for me to actually open my heart out to you, like cry to you, like, you know, scream and everything, just tell you everything that's going on, and for you to actually listen and then find a way to actually give me, you know, tell me things to actually help me out with it.
That's crazy. There's something you said that I want to touch on right quick. And I don't know if this is even a real thing, but it just came to my head while you said it. You said said, because your dad or whoever was around you, like your closest people, family members, whatnot, because they always seem to not have the time, that make you assume everybody else doesn't have the time. So which tells me the people around you that cares about you or who's supposed to care for you plays a big role of how you navigate around the world. Because they treat, it's just kind of like how you think love is, because you're in an abusive family and you think abuse is love, or because if, you know, whoever called you by name, if when you're with a man, I found the question, if when you're with a man, he doesn't treat you that way, that means he doesn't love you enough. Like, we see the world based on how we were treated around our family.
Right.
And it takes us seeing better sometimes and understanding that that's better and deciding that though I did not get X, Y, and Z, but when I'm old enough to have control over how I navigate the world, I need to purposely change my mind, because it depends how long you've been in the situation. You may not be able to know. You're not gonna naturally navigate the world with the newfound truth. Oh my gosh, with the newfound truth. But I think we can like purpose or change our mind about how we navigate things based on newfound truth. So the oh man, the question. Oh my gosh, no.
You know, actually, Go ahead. Say what you were gonna say.
I was gonna say the question was, do you think that you got in relationship with people based on the experience? Like, do you think that you went in relationship hoping to gain what you did not get, or went into relationship expecting them to treat you the way you were treated in your family?
It's the first thing. I went into a relationship because at the time, remember, I was suffering. I was really suffering of a loss of a mother, because you know, like, a mother is supposed to be here to actually like teach you how to love and how to be loved by somebody. So the fact that I did not have that, it actually played a big role. So I felt really lost. I would get into relationship, like, I give so much, hoping that that person would give me at least the little bit of things that I give back. And the fact that I did not get it at all, it used to frustrate me. And that ended up making me, I ended up getting hurt, which I still have broken pieces that I'm still trying to patch together. And sometimes it feels like so impossible to put it all together. But I know, like, you know, someday I'm going to be able to put it together.
God can. I actually believe that. I actually believe God can. Did you ever feel like it was, maybe not, maybe you didn't go through that, but did you ever feel like maybe something's wrong with me as to why do I keep attracting these people? Like, did you always know you were going after what you didn't have? Or did you, like, after experiencing okay, so because you knew that.
I've always knew, in the back of my head, I've always knew that, okay, I'm not wait, you're telling me 25 minutes remaining? It's about to shut down. But like I said, like, I've always knew that, part of me knew that I was not going to get it, but I still pushed towards it anyway. Yeah. It's about to end, so I will restart it again.
Deuces.
Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, And we're back.
Who's Rudy?
Oh, Rudy is. Hi, Rudy. Yeah, he's from the church that I go to.
Cool. Welcome back, Juliana. Who's AKA Sammy Jenner? Do you know that person?
Hey Sam. Yeah, we went to
Hey,
school.
Marie. Cool. I mean, I don't have any more questions. That was like literally my last question. It just you kept saying things that kept reminding me of more things. That's oh cool. That's a good question to ask.
Okay, but
But
no,
you were saying something, so I want people to get back on before. Mitch.
I
Wait.
have Flo. These are my friends. You have to stop trying to.
Okay. Hi, friends of Chris Meir.
Right.
I do this every time we do a story. I struggle saying people's name, and it doesn't work, but I still do it. I just don't want people to think that I'm ignoring them. Like, I see your comments. It's just like, if I pay attention to the comments, I'll get distracted and I'll lose my thoughts. And right now is the worst time to lose my thoughts because I'm kind of hungry, so my brain is not, like, entirely here. So, forgive me. Hey, Serge.
Your name is Serge. Hi, Serge. But no, like, yeah. So.
Okay, yeah, you were saying something.
Totally forgot what I was saying. What was I saying? What was I talking about?
I should have written it down.
I should have for real. So there's a question. Floor asks if I'm working on myself. Yes, I am actually working on myself. Even though like it's taking me longer, but I am working on myself.
What are you doing to work on yourself?
I am praying. I am spending time with myself. I try not to be around too many people. Not that I don't like being around people. Not that I don't like people. I do like people, but there are certain times that I don't like people. Yeah, like, but it used to be bad though, actually. Like, it used to be really bad to the point where I would look at you, I'm like, I don't like being around you. Get away from me. Like,
Listen, I'm an introvert, okay? So, like, you right up my alley, okay? Like, I love people, but I don't like them sometimes. And sometimes it's not that I don't like you. I just would rather be by myself right now. So, leave me alone. So, right up my alley. That's a good one, Juliana. Be patient with yourself.
Yeah, I've struggled with that. I struggle with it.
Huge. That's huge. Like, so big. Like, that's like one of my biggest downfall. Like, and the thing is, I'm a perfectionist as much as I'm an artist, which makes no sense because it's like almost, they think artists are very loose, and perfectionists are very uptight. I am equally both, and I had to be okay with knowing that I don't have to pick one. That's just how God created me. It's complicated. I'm sorry. But being that is like, I always want things to be like so perfect. And I have to remind myself, like, look, you one person and things happen. Get over it. Then what? What you gonna do? Did you die? No. So keep it moving.
Right.
Keep it moving. Anybody have any other questions or any thoughts or any? I really wanted to wish I could address what that guy said earlier because that was really sad. The one who sent the Q&A. I don't remember what he was. I don't know if he's back on.
Yeah, he's not here. But I actually like he's actually the son of my old boss, the elder of my church that I used to work for as the security guard. Remember the guy that I was telling you about?
Say that one more time. I read a question and I didn't hear you.
No, I was saying like he is the son of the elder of the church that I used to go to, the one that I used to work for.
Got you. Cool.
Yeah,
Who's Jimmy?
Jimmy. Flores shows some self-love. Do you think if Mommy was alive, all of these things would have been different? Yes. If my mom was alive, everything that I know that I'm going through right now, everything that I've been through, it would have been different. Like, totally different. Like, I feel like, in a way, it would have been good and bad. But I just feel like it would have been more bad because I would have been spoiled too much. I feel like the fact that like even though like I miss my mom, I really hate the fact that she's not here. But at the same time, I do think that the fact that like she is not here actually shaped me in a way that it shook me too. It shocked me and stuff because I feel like right now I am a little bit patient with people. I know how to share with people. I know it's like I know what it's like, when somebody say, "Hey, I have a headache. Can you can you take me to the hospital, or can you give me some medicine for it?" Or it's like if I have like I just know there are certain things that I know how it feels. I can relate to other people compared to I feel like if my mom was here, I would have probably never knew that. There are some struggles I would have never know how to handle money. I would have never know how to there are certain things that I wouldn't know how to done it because my mom, she would have been there and then she would have spoiled me on that part.
That's big. So you learn how to have compassion.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to have discipline, and you also learn how to be sufficient.
Right. And then also there's another thing, I know how to live. Not because my mom is because of the fact that my family was not that lovey-dovey with me, that actually makes me it taught me how to kind of even though I know we're living in a world where you're not gonna find, not everybody that you come across with will show you the same love that you give them. So it actually made me see that, okay, it made me think about it. It made me okay, although I know I'm all lovable and stuff, but actually made me see that not everybody will be like me, and that's a big thing.
Okay. Do you think you love yourself?
Do I love myself?
Yes.
Girl. Yes, I do. I do love myself. I do love myself. I actually I genuinely do love myself, but because I suffered from the depression, there were times that I would wake up, I would hate myself. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I don't love myself. It was just the disease. That's what it does. It's just it makes you think that you're not worth you're not worth anything.
Gotcha. Do you think, are you proud? Are you proud of with everything you've gone through where you are now?
It's a 50-50.
Okay. Is it because you have a whole lot more you think you need to reach to? Or because you feel like you should have been further?
I just feel like I have a whole lot more that I have a whole lot more that I want to do.
Yeah, but having a lot to do doesn't mean you shouldn't be proud of where you've come from and how far you've gotten.
I said it 50-50.
You did say 50-50, so now I get it. Okay.
50. Well, 50% is yes, I am really proud of how I've handled certain things in the past and how I've dealt with depression in the past. That's what shaped me to who I am now. But then the other 50% is just there are other things that I want to do. There are it's I want to do, there's a lot of other stuff that I want to do, and that I feel like that will shape me for who I am becoming for the tomorrow.
So you're looking towards growth.
Yes.
Okay. So do anybody else have any questions before we wrap up? Ooh.
Question, comment.
That's the first time we've been able to do Q&A.
Right.
Well, we didn't do it in the first half. I'm glad you're doing better. I'll keep you in my prayers. It says Black Natural Love.
Oh, hey, Floor. Thank you so much. See, she didn't even know that I suffer from depression. I work with her.
Really?
We work together. She can tell me, I'm always, either I'm happy or I'm complaining about somebody that works there that did something wrong to me. And these are the things that, that makes a lot of people, they are shocked when I told them, hey, or whenever they see this live and then they're like, huh? Really?
Right.
Like,
For real, not Chris Mir.
right, especially like, like as a worship leader, I do praise and worship at so many other churches, and then they're like, okay, are you serious? When they saw the live, they're like, what?
Yeah.
Really? But you
Yeah.
all, cause like they always cause they always feel like, okay, my energy is so hyped and everything. Like last Saturday, I went to one of the church back here in Tampa. The one of the elders over there, he was like, I need you to come back to the praise team with me because you're the hype of the praise team. Whenever like you're doing praise and worship, like people actually feel it and stuff. And I need you to come back. And that's one thing. When they saw the live, they're like, are you serious? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Like, you need to tell me this whole time you're
struggling.
a happy person. You don't show any sign. You were struggling with all this and you kept it on the inside. How did you deal with it? Like, how do you do it? Because you're like, because I know like some people, I know some people, they would they would break down. And there
Yeah,
were times,
everybody don't carry their problems in their sleeves. Everybody don't carry their pain in their face. Everybody don't, like some people, like, and I am one of those people. I could be dying and you would not know, period.
right?
So I'm not surprised at all. Sometimes you get surprised, like, really? But then I was like, well, Yanta, you are capable of doing the exact same thing. Like, nobody would know if you're dying unless you choose. You have to choose to share, like, really, like, whatever. Man, I love the question again. But
there were times that actually I break down, but people would just think that, oh, she's just crying just to cry and stuff. Because I remember there were times like especially when I go to Bethel, whenever they're doing whenever they're about to do like prayer intercession, and then they ask for people to come up front, and I will go up front, and then the song, it all depends on the type of song that they're singing. If they're singing like a song that I actually feel it, and I know the song, and I will actually I will sing it, and I will put both of my hands up, and my eyes are like really closed, and like I'm crying. You can see like the tears running down my face and everything, and then just like people are looking at me, they're like, oh, you're just feeling it in the moment. You're feeling what
and they have no idea.
But really, it's just like on the inside, I'm breaking down. Like I feel like my body is just like breaking, like little by little. And I'm just like, while I feel my body is breaking down, and I'm also feeling like, okay, there's hope for me. There's like, yeah, I can survive this. I can, I can live through it and stuff.
That's good. That's good.
There's a song that I like by James Fortune. It's a song that says "Live Through It."
Live through it.
Yeah, that song I really like it. Whenever like I hear that song, I was just like, yes, I can go through it, and I can survive. Like yeah. So hey Jenny, how you doing?
Cool. My very, very last question, and I think I'm just gonna wrap up. I took notes only because like I feel like I don't know, I just feel like the little gems we got tonight, like it should be like retold to wrap it up, because clearly this is a can of worm that's opened that it's never been open in our community. Not that I know of, not that I've ever seen, not out loud, not in public. And I truly believe that whoever the one is, and you've already had many people reach out to you, and it baffles me that she has quite a few people who reach out to her, and what baffled me, surprised me at the same time, were the fact that they were men, and men don't open up about nothing emotionally, nothing, not really. And that already within its own, it's like that's already a huge testament. And some of them are like leaders, and it's like, yeah, there's all type of people struggling through this, and I just think how awesome it is that God didn't wait for it to be like 100% perfect. for him to allow you to for him to use your story, and he didn't really care that you were somebody like of like a Beyonce or like, you know, like it's only when those people talk about something all of a sudden everybody want to be like me too.
Right.
But I think to an extent, if a Beyonce talked about it and you said me too, you will still feel like that. You who's looking at it as a person would feel like, not necessarily you, but like people looking at it wouldn't feel like I relate because she got money or she got this or she's a celebrity or she's blah blah blah. When it feels like somebody like who's normal, and we feel like it's relatable, it's easier for us to be like, well, if she came from an 80% and got to a 15, shoot, let me try to get to a 50. I'll be fine with the 50. You know what I mean? So the very, 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 very last question is, one of the things you said earlier that kind of made me sad was how, you know, you cried yourself to sleep last night. And my question is, could there have anything being done from anybody that could have changed that? Because you say you didn't even know why you were crying. Like, could anyone have done anything differently to have helped aid the process better or faster or easier?
Yes, and then no. Yes, I think if I had somebody to actually like talk to, yes, it would have helped the process a little bit. But at the same time, no, because I feel like this whole thing, it's my story. It's a part of me. It's what made me who I am today. And it is what is going to make me who I am becoming for tomorrow. So it's like, it shows me a lot. It taught me a lot. So I feel like if I had gotten the help that I should have gotten, I would have never learned anything from it. And I would probably like, you know what, it was just going to be like, oh, it was just another thing. It was just another thing that happened. You know? Yeah. It's like right now, the fact that, okay, so it's kind of like, okay, I burned my finger. Oh, yeah, I just burned my finger. It's going to heal, you know, nothing. But if I had burned my finger and then I felt the pain and then I just say, you know, I don't know how to say this, but it's just like, you know, it's kind of like I patched it little by little. I cleaned it out little by little and stuff. Then I would have learned, okay, I should have never put my hand down right there. And this is how I should have done the whole thing, you know, to help it heal. So that's
okay, well, if that's the case, then do we need to be helping people? Because if the experience within itself makes you who you are, and the potential help could have disabled you to be the person you are, then do we need to be helping people?
But you gotta understand though, not everybody is different. Like,
so you're saying for you?
Yeah, for me, it worked for me like that. So it's kind of like, yes, if I had gotten the help, I wouldn't be suffering for that long. But at the same time, like the fact that I suffered for that long, it made who I am right now. It made me.
Go ahead.
Oh no, my pilot.
Okay, so I think this is what I think happened. I think God knew what you didn't have. I think God understanding your capacity, and I think the Bible says all things work together for your good. And people often translate that as everything good is going to happen for me, when really it's even the bad things that happen to me, God can turn it around and use it for your good. So while this was a situation that it's unfortunate, God was able to use it as life lesson to make you the better person that you are today. If it didn't happen, would it have been easier? Absolutely. If it didn't happen, could God use other things to make you who he wants you to be? Absolutely. However, it did happen. He allowed it to happen. And though you did not get as much help as you would like it, he wasn't going to let you go down into the shambles because other people didn't do their job. So what he did is he used your heart, he used his ways, however ways he chose to use, to help you anyways and help you become the person that you are now. But at the same time, I do think there are those of us who are leaders, and I do think when God has favor in your life and he has a big job for you to do, not even death himself can take you out unless you take yourself out. And I do think that he knew one day you would share this story. And I do think one day he knew that there are thousands of people who doesn't have the capacity like you, that you'll be able to help to share that story. You'll be able to help to overcome these things. Just like I shared with you with the verse, the Bible says you will overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. And I think, like I told you, I think the blood of the Lamb was what helped you overcome all along, even when you didn't have the help you were supposed to have. And the word of your testimony, which is what you're doing right now, using your stories, is not only helping you to continue to overcome, but it's helping tremendous people overcome. So to wrap up, this is what I want to say. Based on what I know she said today in the question we asked, it sounds like
hold on. Something else. Also, like, I have discovered things that I never knew I would be able to do about myself. So that actually, like, that is a big thing too, because I discovered, like, I was able to write poetry, and I never.
Yes.
I remember, like, it's not even most of the stuff that I have written before. They're not happy things, but there's just, like, the sadness that I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. Because I remember, like, the first poem that I have written was one that stated "Puki c'est moi," which is "Why me" when you translate it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've written it in two versions. I've written it in the world version, and I've written it in the, like, church in the Christian version.
Faith perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's cool. Before I move on, I want to address what Black Natural said. She said that one of her cousins committed suicide last week, and she's questioning herself a lot about it. She's glad that you overcame this situation. I mean, like, something Christmas said last week that made me guilty. Wants to say sorry for your loss, because I really don't understand your loss. But however, I am sorry that happened. That your family has to experience that. That's really sad. That's really sad. So we'll be praying for your family for, like, I don't know, like, understanding, because like sometimes we don't understand because we're not in the person's head. Right. Or heart, so we could not have known why, and we could be like, I wish I had done something different. It's kind of late. So
the first thing us Haitian would think was somebody that actually suffered from that, and then they kill themselves. The first thing that they would think, it would be like, oh my God,
they had nothing better to do. She said,
you had nothing better to do but to take your life.
Crazy.
But really, you don't know exactly. Maybe, like, that was the way for the person, to feel at peace.
Freedom. Yeah.
Like, and there's just, like, I feel like us Haitian, we need to do better when it comes to, like, communicating with others and
definitely
comfort others, because sometimes one word only you say can overpower one negative word overpower all the negative. I mean, all the positive. One negative can overpower all the positive.
Absolutely. We are the biggest bullies, and I don't care what nobody say. We are the biggest bullies on earth that I know.
Right.
We bully so much that we've created people strong out of bullying people.
Right.
And everybody's not strong enough to handle it.
Like, they think it's okay. They think it's okay because that's how their parents raised them, and that's how their grandparents raised their parents. So it's like, it's a whole thing. They think it's okay for them to do that, but when in reality,
it's not.
Right.
And here's what, they don't think it's okay because they complain about what their parents did.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this concept about because I suffer, you must suffer. And I've heard people say that. Well, when I was growing up, I didn't have a house. So what makes you think you should have a house? You know,
Right.
when I was growing up, I was beating with electrical cord. So you're gonna be beaten with cow skin. It's
Yeah.
like, so it hurt you. You knew it hurt you. You didn't like the fact that it hurt you, but somehow you find comfort in doing it to the next because you want them to be hurt as well. That's
Mhm.
evil. That's just evil.
To the max. Like, it is evil to the max, and it's not right. And we all need, like, the Haitian culture. We need to change that.
And then we be at church leaders and we still think that way.
Exactly. Yeah, like, to bring up this conversation, the church part, the reason, like, I had one of the church leader that came up to me and told me that my story actually, you know, he learned from it. It was because I'm part of the group chat, the praise team group chat. And one thing that in the Haitian culture, one thing, and then especially like in the churches too, one thing that we are battling right now, it's the fact that the older generation doesn't want to accept the generation that's after them, what they're bringing to the table. And it's a constant battle. Like, the youth are saying, okay, I want to do this. This is what's going to be better. And then the old generation are like, oh, I'm used to this. That's it. Like, nothing. Not gonna help. So they had a bigger argument in the group about that, to the point where one of the youth, he left the group chat. And then I was like, wow, are you serious right now? So I ended up sharing the video on the group. Not because I felt like I don't think anybody in there, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're going through. I'm not going to say that. But I'm just saying, at the moment, I wasn't thinking about, oh, okay, I'm just going to share this, just to share it. If they watch it, they watch it. But I shared it because you guys are fighting about position in the church, while you guys are fighting about who can sing better than the other ones. There are people in the church, there are youth in the church that are suffering from whatever it is that they're suffering to. But we're so focused on worrying about being in the bigger position in the church. We're not really worrying about that until the person die, or until
And all of a sudden everybody's crying. Everybody wants to talk in the funeral. Everybody wants to bring flowers.
Exactly, right. And then the thing is like, all they're gonna talk about is like, oh, she was a good person, or he was a good person. But what about when I needed the help, and you seen that I was suffering, but because you were so focused on being other things other than, being what you actually, like, came in that ministry to be, I felt like it was just like, okay, you're not worrying about that right now. And it's like, we are suffering, like, until they open their eyes, until like they see, okay, what we're doing is not right, we're doing it the wrong way. And when they do realize that, I'm just hoping it's not too late for them when they do realize that.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that is not even just our culture thing. That's actually a church issue. It's a church issue because the enemy has gotten into our head to be more focused about culture. And when I mean culture, I don't necessarily mean Haitians. I mean, like, the way we do things. We're more focused on the programs. We're more focused on this is the way it is. We're more focused on how lit the event is. We're more focus on materialistic thing that if Jesus was to come on earth, you would not recognize, because that's not church. Church is really a body of people who come together, because the Bible says when 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he is in the midst. That's church. The purpose of church was that you and I can come together, discuss what God has done for us, so that it can help me, encourage me to move forward. So in other words, technically, we're having church. We've gotten so stuck on the program and the way we do things that we're not realizing the very thing that God asks us to do when we come together as a church and we live in courage. We're supposed to go out there and give the gospel to the one out there.
Right. But we
What
don't.
we've done is come together comfortably and fight and discuss how we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. And if nobody else wants to agree, they need to leave. We're never supposed to kick nobody out. That's God's job and God's job alone. We were supposed to be the hospital for people to come and be changed, mind transforming, heart change. That's it. Period. But whatever. That's not what the topic is about. So that's a whole nother topic.
And that's kind of part of the topic because it just brings me to the part where people that keep saying that, I'm shocked that she is, she went through that. She did not look like the type of person that actually went through that. It's because they were so focused on that it is not really important. But then when I was right there, right in front of them, there were signs. There were times that I actually showed them, but they were not paying attention to. Yeah, so that's why they didn't see that.
Or if they saw it, they just didn't care. That's another thing too.
Yeah, they just ignored it. They're like, "Oh, that's not my business. That's not my channel."
But then they're involved in everything else that really isn't their business. Then the things that are their business, like helping people, they avoid.
Exactly.
You know what? I have decided, not as a Seventh Adventist and not as a Haitian woman, I have decided as a child of God, as someone who believed that God is real, as someone who believed that Jesus Christ died for my sin, as someone who believed that because I believe that Jesus died for my sin, and because he's changed my life, I'm going to share with others. I have decided that doesn't matter what my people do, doesn't matter what my culture says. At the end of the day, I am responsible for what God has told me and how I treat people and how he punishes me based on who I am. So therefore,
that's why the salvation is personal. That's why it says
exactly. That. It is very personal. So for that reason, I think no matter, I've always been different anyways, and I've always been an oddball, and I've always been weird, even when I try to fit in. But I think for that reason, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I believe God tells me, even if I'm wrong. Because that's what grace is there for. But I would rather walk with him and be wrong than trying to do my own thing that I think is right and then get to heaven and he's like, I never know you.
Right.
And I'm going to be like, well, I did miracles in your name. He's like, I don't know you.
Right. And that's
Go ahead.
One thing that actually, like, I actually thought about that too so many times, where I would sit down and I question myself. I'm like, I wonder what my dad or my family members are gonna tell God when God asks them what did you do with Chris Mir, because I gave you Chris Mir to, like, I gave you Chris Mir to guard her. What did you do that was good? What did you do that was, like,
that hurt me to the core.
I think about those things because I'm like, if I was right there in your face, like 9 years is not 9 days. I'm going through all that. And you just like, oh, it's just another thing. You brush it off and like it was nothing. And it's just like, I'm just going to sit there and actually look at you. How are you going to answer that question? What have you done with the soul that I have gave you to guard for me? What have you done to it?
When you put it in that sense, what they did is so normal in our culture that, damn, there's a lot of people who's going to have to answer that question.
Right.
And I don't want to be one of them. I don't want to be one of them. I don't want to be one of them. I don't want to be one. I want to hear my well done. I don't want to be one of them. I don't want to have to answer that question. God, ask me about something else, but don't ask me about that question. I don't want to be responsible for somebody else's soul. I don't want to. I don't want blood in my hand. I can't.
Especially like you know how some people, they always asking, God, I want a child. 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 And then when God finally give them the child, they treat that child so bad to the point where all that child wants to do is get away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just when God asks you that question, how are you gonna stand right in front of God with a straight face and say, oh, I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do. no, you did not do what you were supposed to do. You did not do what God told you to do. You didn't do your job. You kept asking for it, and then now when he gave it to you, you just treated it badly. So
bad stewardship goes on everything. Whew, child, girl. and it's not even just about children. It's about a job that God gives you. It's about the boyfriend, your spouse, the business, your friendship, your girlfriend, everything that you ask for, even the things you don't ask for. If he gives it to you, he expects you to take good care of it. And when you don't, you're responsible for whatever bad happens to it, and you will get punished. I pray people get grace. I pray people change their heart. I pray that people would apologize, because see, if the man on the cross on the left of Jesus, if I'm not mistaken, could say, God, I'm sorry, and make it to heaven, I believe everybody have a chance as long as they're alive. So we pray that they get to a point where that thought comes to their head and they can repent. And even if they don't apologize, if they can repent and gain forgiveness, I pray that's what happens. So we're gonna wrap up for real this time, because I start getting a headache because I'm hungry. Yeah, so based on what you said, here are the things that anybody who will struggle with something like that would need: emotional support and mental support, and a simple question of how you're doing and actually meaning it. Emotional support, I guess, could be as simple as allow them to cry, because one thing you said is that you're working on it is you cry about it because you feel sad, and it's okay to feel sad because it's something bad that happens to you. You can't help how you feel about it. You can't pretend that it didn't happen. So, which I think, because sometimes we feel like we shouldn't cry. Like, okay, like I'm that person. I'm that girl who thought crying this meant something was wrong with. No, honey, you're hurt, so cry. So I like that. Checking on them.
It's kind of like when you said the how are you doing part, because it's like some people, they'll just come up to you, they're like, how are you doing? And you're like, yeah, I'm fine. And like, oh, okay, that's fine.
And then they're gone.
No, should be doing, it's like, how are you really doing? If you say fine, then you're gonna be like, okay, how are you really doing? Are you just telling me you're fine just so I could get away from you and then point blank period? Or are you just telling me that you're fine because you're feeling fine? Like
right. Yeah. And talk about it beside prayers. And I think that's what we try to do at the church. Just pray about it. Well, I have been praying about it. However, God gave us to each other for a reason. So talking about it, which is what we're doing right now. Surrounding yourself with the right people.
Kind of like what Juliana said earlier, to be patient with yourself.
Yeah. I wrote that down too. Surrounding yourself, and one thing that you did, which I appreciate, because that's what we're talking about, what the church hasn't been doing, is being a good witness, not allowing the situation to change you, but doing the opposite, and also doing the opposite of what happened to you. So yeah, because they mistreated you, because they disregarded you, you didn't allow that to decide how you're gonna do to everybody. To an extent, there's a same process that happens for everybody to be on the other side. But if it's regarding that particular topic, I'm not the person to ask, because I wouldn't know, and I would hate to give you the wrong thing that may not even work for you. And even Chris Meir may not be able to have the right thing that works for you, because she's a person and you're somebody else. So keep in mind that it could be suggestions, it's her experience, and you may try that exact thing and it doesn't work.
Doesn't work for you.
So because you're somebody else.
Listen to her, like she told me to do this and it didn't work out. No, it's like some things might work for me, it might not work for you. So it's like you gotta find what will work for you.
Yeah, the only common thing, that's why I mainly wrote down like common things like prayer and allowing yourself to cry and getting to know yourself and having support. Those things are general.
Right.
Everybody wants support. Everybody needs prayer, whether you believe in God or not, period. Getting to know yourself, the better you know yourself, the better person you are, the more level-headed you can be, and the better you relate to people, because you don't have to be fake And the more authentic you are, the easier people are attracted to you and they don't even know that's why they're attracted. They just are. So, and that comes from a sense of solidarity within yourself. So, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to our live. This was a story called Depression Tried to Kill, and it's through Chris Mears' page, but it's with True Metamorphosis, and it's a butterfly story because a butterfly goes through the process of eating dirt as a little worm, going through a dark age, which is called can't think of it right now.
The cocoon.
A cocoon season, and then when it comes out of that cocoon season, that's when it has everything that it needs for it to fly. And most of us starts out as a worm when we don't know what's going on, and we're in one process. And when we go through the cocoon time, which is the darkest time of our life, we think that is the end, but then it's really just the beginning of it's really just the start of the other side of progress. So that's what it's called. That's why the page is called True Metamorphose. It's really true change, because these stories are people who've gone through things and have changed because of them. I have so many of them. You probably have some of them, and you probably going through. And once again, we hope that this story help motivate you, inspire you, encourage you, elevate you, help you heal, and that, and encourage you one day to maybe share your stories. And if you do have a story, please holler at me. And like all the other stories, we try our best to put them on YouTube. It doesn't always happen that way, but we do try our best. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for sharing. I mean, I didn't think it would happen, but it did.
It happened.
All right. Deuces. XOXO, love you. Yeah.
Bye.
Peace out. You have to hang up.